Good evening, folks. This is Lila with some bedtime stories that I'd like to share with you. And with me is Dean Bell and our dear friend Tim von Pinnon. I'll be reading from Book 6, Your Dream Visions by Duane, the Great Writer. And we'll be discussing these chapters. Okay. Dreams. They should be treated like thoughts as one analyzes their experiences. This is a basic idea unless one is a new student of the real guides. The real side guidance, then there is a plus factor involved. The real guides must be invited into a person's arena and worlds to help take care of their karmic and daily situations which arise, or they will not be entered. This is how one learns to unburden themselves as they surrender all the thoughts, ideas, and emotions to the sound light reality. The real connection to the all is. So, as one goes to sleep, they merely allow the real guidance to take place as they flow with their experience, and the unconscious mind is open to a fine-tuning of adjustments. In this way, the new student is rid of these obstacles which have been holding them back from perceiving a greater awareness about themselves. Almost on a daily basis, one will begin to soon recognize what's taking place as a very subtle change occurs. The hardest thing for most of us is to live with ourselves and see what is taking place. And so this new awareness has little to do with how we determine things to be along with what we may usually assume, but simply letting go and allowing the light sound reality to become a part of us until we are one with it. This then becomes a greater recognition for us and a much broader position with the whole of life, instead of just a bunch of mental and emotional stimulants that have mainly been set into motion for so many outside sources that want to control everyone. This is an important factor to recognize while residing in any of the lower bodies, as the influence reigns the psychic realms and can penetrate like the wind, and even has dominion over all lords and the gods of man. The personal self needs the contact of its dream arena to survive here, even when it is not consciously recognizing it or has the slightest bit of understanding what is taking place. The psychic realms are so much more of a psychological position that humans can ever imagine. The 4 ages of man and of human history, starting with the Golden Age, then the Bronze, and then the Copper, and finally the last and the most harsh, which we are in right now, the Iron Age. All these tests and trials, each one makes a big step into the real universes. These 4 ages are the formative years, like when we were young, and then as teenagers, we start to feel our way along. So one is still the youthful explorer as they first meet the real guides. And as they are tested to find endurance level, and if a person is ready to become self-sufficient, they will be shown what very few will come to know. There are so many different and various aspects for one to compete themselves with the psychic realms, so much more so than what the authorities of politics and religion imply. As a person recognizes the fact that they keep returning to this lowest place in life, with real guidance, they will come to realize that they have been in full agreement to the authoritarians and given themselves over as part of their many takeover positions. Here again is where all of us go through the most harsh conditions to finally get a glimpse of this great wake-up call that I am presenting now. For those who have the opportunity, they will be introduced to what Paul Twitchell referred to as the rod of power, which is the new wave now. This true reality has its place in the physical realm and all the way up to the very heart of the all is. The average person will not understand what the new waves, but for those who become very intensely sincere, they will be able to stand with the real guides in the new waves. From ancient times comes a lot of descriptive definition along with authoritatively confirmed documentation that the answer to life lies in a spiritual quest that has been outlined mainly by the rep systems. In times past, there were a lot of known and unknown things of a spiritual nature taking place, as this was a good starting point for many of us who have come through thousands of human forms to finally reach this new moment. And so now it is the nowness of life. Someone to explain what he's trying to say.
Well, I'll share. You read about the psychological importance of the real side, or the psychic worlds there has a lot of influence. I'm looking at my life when I was a kid. I was an only child, so I had a lot of time to myself. So I used my imagination a lot. I used to play with little army men, those little figurines, and also the cowboys and Indian figurines. So I had great battles and mock-up situations, cowboys and Indians, and Western movement, and all with these little figurines, going over the chairs and the couches and everything, Indians hiding on top of the couch and shooting arrows down at the wagon train. So that was my childhood. Then I remember junior high, probably the hardest time in my life. It was just awful. It was just because I came into the literal side of things. I was no longer a child and became literal. And literal didn't make sense to me. I was trying to find some meaning to that, and there was no meaning. And then I got into athletics, basketball, and relationships, and that kind of distracted me a bit. And it carried me through high school and college, and then came adulthood, where I married. I had 3 marriages, and that also distracted me in a way, and kind of just went through that. And then I came across the new presentation, and that's it brought me back to that time when I was a child in a way where I could use my imagination. And when Dwayne Hefner, the founder of the new presentation, when he said, "Dream your way to the is," that rung such a, that just rung a bell. Dream your way to the is. That made so much sense to me when he said that. It's like, oh, it's not at all literal. It's not what you think it is, the approach to the isness is. You dream your way to it. You can use that consideration. It's not it, but it's a pretty good start. In my case, it just works for me. And that's where I see the psychological, or this position with the real side and the all of creation. How you see that, how you reference it, makes a lot of difference in terms of comparing it to what the is. So you sort of eliminate what it isn't by going through all these experiences you have through your lifetimes. And then you can come upon the recognition of what it really is, this isness. No guarantee, you still have to figure it out, but that's why we're here, to figure it out, to figure out our position with this, with our relationship with this isness. So it's very interesting how it works, and imagination is a great tool for people to utilize, and the kids have it, usually until they start school and they lose it to the literalness that they're indoctrinated to, and then good luck getting it back. Unless maybe you're an artist or something like that, where you still access that part of yourself, but usually you become so indoctrinated, stiff, rigid, just, you're just so immersed in the society, the marketing here, that you lose that portion of yourself like you were as a kid. You were like a kid. That we find it here, the people here with the new presentation, they have that quality. They utilize it. They've got to, or else it's not about being literal. It's about using that imaginative faculty that we have to move around into different positions so you can see what is real and what is not.
Yes, this imagination is a wonderful tool. It is true that all those who qualify themselves with the real guides can stand in the new ways and perceive the real light of the is. From this position here, this magnificent reality is like a giant spiral of pure light, reaching into all the skies on each level of life. It can also appear as a huge shaft of light. For the human side of this realm, it takes a lot of training for a person to finally have the slightest bit of recognition of what this true reality is. The new ways is so incomprehensible to anything of the human mind, and there is and can never be any technology that comes close to knowing what it really is. This is where most of mankind has failed in their pursuit to discover real truth, because it can never be found in old ruins or on other planets, and especially with the personalities of ancient saviors. It is always new and now, and it must be approached with a special awareness. All the stories, and so many of those who have had experiences with a degree of light in their life, were usually experiencing the lesser aspects of it, with only the real gods have the real connection to the heart of the all is. It is so that anyone can proceed to stand with the real gods in the real light by going through the process of becoming more aware. All in all, this becomes a real adventure to escape as a new student who knows their goal is to become free from all the illusions of the gods of man and the false restrictions that have held one back for lifetimes. The new student is not to look for agreement from his friends or family or others, because it's doubtful that he'll ever get it. This journey is exceptional, and very few will come to see it for what it really is. All one has to do is to continue their life and to live it and stay with the new youth sessions. And when they are ready to step forward with real courage, they then will go out into the world and become the new leaders as they work with the new man to provide the greatest humanitarian adventure ever. Our position is that of being real, just like the sun shining in the sky. We are really cool. We have no affiliation with any political, religious, spiritual, or metaphysical beliefs, faiths, or the likes. We do acknowledge and respect the creations of others as they are making their choices, but our position is one of real freedom and not one of any regulatory bodies. We are not in any manner of an earthly political structure or nature, for or against anything. Each person determines their own being and their own choices. Our real position is to provide the new presentation as it works hand in hand with the real universal guides and the focus really of that and the all is.